Welcome back to the North American LCS and our championship series between Team SoloMid and Cloud9. These two teams that have traded possession of first place throughout the split. But ending the season in first comes with the title of Spring Champions, a trip to All-Stars, and a huge boost to their fans. Not to mention the one thing that motivates them both, Korean barbecue.
Hopefully we get this spot because it's going to be really hard to win Worlds if we can't win here.
We've been working the entire season towards being #1, and being behind TSM the entire time was kind of sad a little bit just because we weren't there #1.
It's a milestone, especially against C9, now that there's more competition in NA. Every win we get against C9 is already a milestone.
This split has been really rough for us. We started out strong, faltered a bit. If we win here, it's going to mean that the practice that we've been putting in the past few weeks have really been paying off.
We sort of weren't top of North America summer split last year, so we really want to prove everyone wrong that we still got it and we can still win.
The biggest thing for us winning the split would be going to All-Stars as a team, which would be awesome because any international experience is just a ton of fun.
I really want to just see Paris, and I really want to actually compete there and get more experience internationally.
I moved here from Europe like a couple of months ago, and it's just like, it would just mean a lot to me if I could manage to go from Europe, come over here and like win the entire thing.
If anything, when winning, when playing, when doing good, every play I do is all for the fans and all for my team.
So the fans have been with us for a long time. They've been here since the beginning of last split, and some even before that.
We have a lot of fans, and it's really nice to see all the fans happy and supporting us.
If we win today, then maybe our hype is real.
People don't really think that we can win. I mean, we've been faltering a lot. Honestly, all the practice that we've been putting in, it needs to show in these last few games.
If we win, I think Reggie's going to take us out for Korean barbecue.
A celebration for us if we won would definitely just be food, maybe K-barbecue or something.
I'd probably call my mom and tell her we're the best team in North America and I'm probably going to be going to Paris.
There'd be a lot of stress gone. We'd be like, yeah, we're #1 again.
Generally, we try to just take it one game at a time, so we're definitely not going to plan our celebration until if we win.
The finals between us and Cloud9 is definitely going to be hype.
I'm really happy that we made it to finals. It means that we're that much closer to actually winning and going to Paris.
Now we're in the finals, now it's just all on us to play our best game.
It's like still possible that, yeah, TSM could be #1.
Great feature. Both of these teams definitely want to win. They definitely want to get the title. They definitely want to get Korean barbecue. Just as an aside, I don't get Korean barbecue. I go to a restaurant to have my food made for me, not to cook my own food.
It just sounds like you're a lazy person, Quick Shot.
No, just, what's
Korean
the point?
barbecue is a social experience.
No.
Right?
Well, hey, just don't invite him. We'll go after this. Get out of here.
That's fine. It's fine. Right, let's get back on topic. Let's get back on topic, right? We're in the championship series. We're jumping into game number 2. I want to talk about a few players. Let's start with TheOddOne. He struggled game 1. He was outclassed by Meteos. Did not perform particularly well against Zhao. What's your take going into game 2?
I don't know. Yeah, it just looked like he was behind the game. Meteos and High were playing these really good picking champs. They have LeBlanc and Elise. If anybody gets hit by a cocoon or a chain, instantly dead. And they're just moving around the map together, taking objectives and picking people off. And it looked like Bjergsen and OddOne just didn't have that synergy.
Yeah, I think TheOddOne, if anything, he just needs to be a little bit more proactive in his jungle. However, all the blame can't be laid on him. Bjergsen also is partly to blame for a lot of the things that were stolen away from TheOddOne. When Bjergsen was roaming and he got caught, and when Bjergsen lost his 1v1, they lose more things in the jungle whenever their mid laner does go down. So those two are really tied together tightly.
Trust the jungler to look for someone else to blame. Well played, well played. Talking about another jungler, Meteos. He went unkilled, 5-0-10, played Elise, had more farm than TheOddOne at multiple stages of the game. Once again, of course, because of all the pressure. I mean, Meteos ban Elise, but the problem is he's just going to do it on something else.
I mean, he can do it on something else, but it's not going to be quite the same. Like, Elise is a really good pick champion and roaming champion, and I would probably take him off of that. He seems to be really comfortable in it. He likes his new build, and he just likes the way he plays around in the team. So unless you're going to pick it, I mean, OddOne is he likes to play Elise a lot too. So and of course Bjergsen's a LeBlanc player as well. So maybe they just pick their strategy from them.
I'm glad you say that because High's LeBlanc. I actually said before the game went on. I don't know, like I feel like High is good on LeBlanc, but I'm never blown away. And
Did
as
you
I'm
like that play where he soloed the European import, as you put it?
Straight up, completely silenced me. I like I said, it's just in comparison to other LeBlanc players.
American Muscle.
I had not ranked High that much, and you're right. American Muscle takes out the European. And what's your take on High and his LeBlanc play, Kobe?
I definitely am a fan. I was a fan, actually, even over in Kiev when he was using his distortion to go into Zig ultimates and dying. But he's able to roam effectively, and he picks people off. He catches people by surprise. You can even see some of the plays he goes for don't work out, but you can tell he's always looking for those openings. When he was trying to catch people recalling and he wasn't able to burst down Bjergsen, those are the types of plays. He's always looking for those.
And we'll see if he can make them stick.
Yeah, he's really mindful about his positioning too with LeBlanc too. I just wanted to point that out, especially in like the game yesterday with Curse, where he came in from the side and he flanked them. In order to be a good LeBlanc player, you have to know the right angles to come in. If you just run straight into somebody, which I see a lot of people do, you just end up dead. So,
well played by Cloud9. They are 1-0 up. We're going to send it back over to Freak and Jat for game number 2.
Thank you very much, guys. So we are about to get ourselves into this one. I mean, this is such a great match, of course. It's great because we're in the finals, and it seems like the teams are playing their best as well.
Yeah, well, Cloud9 is definitely playing their best. As far as TSM is concerned, losing 1 kill to 18 is something that's even worse than the last time they met Cloud9 in the finals. Those games that they played actually back in last summer's championships, 11-24 kills death, then 10-24, and then 8 kills, 24 deaths. 1 to 18 was nowhere near that. So Cloud9 actually really making a statement in that game.
Yeah, they're so controlled. They're not letting anything in. It's weird. And the reason I said like TSM I thought played well is I didn't see like obvious like major mistakes, right? Like Bjergsen won his lane. Okay, he got 1v1. Like that was bad. But like you know, there are like a couple small ones. I guess like OddOne got caught stealing blue buff, but like these are so small things you typically don't lose a game off of. But I didn't see like a single thing really wrong with C9 in that game.
No, Cloud9 played pretty much flawlessly, as you kind of have to do if you're going to win 16 games in a row.
Yeah. A couple too many flaws, you're going to lose a couple of this one. So here we go. Picks and bans coming through. TSM starting to learn from the things that Cloud9 was picking. The Lucian ban comes through.
Strange though, because they are first pick.
Yeah, so there's
which
something
means
else.
They have their eyes on something else.
I feel like the OddOne, like, he was playing a lot of Elise and a lot of Kha'Zix in the recent past. I want to see if they, like, ban Elise, take Kha'Zix as their first pick gambit.
Well, what's interesting to note, in the playoffs, Meteos has played Elise 3 times and High's played LeBlanc 3 times, all resulting in victory. That LeBlanc ban, they block that strategy.
And this other big first pick I'm thinking about as well is Soraka. That's the big question, because I'm thinking, like, you know, they're not banning anything they banned last game. The LeBlanc ban, the Lucian ban, right? C9 is still running the same bans they were running before. Jax also was one of the bans, so it's the Kha'Zix ban. They're looking for Soraka.
I mean, this means that Dyrus could first pick either the Jax or the Soraka, something that has been banned pretty much the whole weekend for Cloud9 games.
Does Dyrus get to play Jax for the first time in like 3 years?
Here's the interesting thing about this. Even though Dyrus could play Jax, it would leave the door open for Balls to play Renekton, and then they either play the lane swap game, where Jax is a little bit, can kind of survive against Renekton, but that's not the game that TSM likes to play. If they pick Jax into a straight up 1v1 against a Renekton from Balls, they would lose that matchup. If they do the lane swapping while Jax might win, the rest of the team could suffer, so I feel like TSM is kind of battling against themselves a little bit after this ban phase.
Well, we'll see. Elise is available for OddOne if he wants to play it. Of course, that wasn't a high priority before.
They're really talking about this one, too.
Thresh could be the grab for Xpecial. They can't go LeBlanc with this one. Of course, LeBlanc and Soraka both banned away. And they're saying, you know, if Renekton beats Jax, then let's go Renekton. And Dyrus can run that.
Trying to think through TSM's logic here. They got standard lanes in game 1. That's generally what they were going for. So they want to make sure they can at least win standard lanes if they get it again. Of course, that's going to leave them open to Cloud9 doing the 4-1 push, doing heavy rotations and map movements throughout the mid-game, and forcing that way. An interesting strategy to first pick the Renekton. That was when Dyrus went massive, though, in Game 3 against CLG is when he got to play Renekton.
Yeah, there was a stat, I don't know if someone wrote it down wrong, but I thought there was something like a 51 KDA with Dyrus on Renekton. He was 5-0 with the champion, and he's a player good enough, like, he probably didn't die, it just accrued that kind of a KDA. I mean, Meteos had a 38 Lee Sin KDA back in the day, in the earlier part of the split, like, and yeah, he won that CLG game so strongly, like, that really just might be a stat line there. Cloud9, the Elise, and interestingly enough, with the Lucian ban, Graves, once again here for Sneaky.
That's actually kind of to be expected from Cloud9. When they couldn't get Lucian against Curse, they played Graves, and those have been his 280 carries throughout the playoffs. I actually kind of look at Lucian as just being a slightly better Graves as far as short range, short dash, long range ultimate that can have an impact in team fights. And Cloud9 can play very much the same way, whether they have Lucian or Graves. That's why they picked it here.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty good plug-in for the team. Cloud9 once again taking their time with their mid lane pick. TSM to make their choices. And TSM, I mean, they're taking a very, very long time. Not hovering over anything, just the concentration on the face. You can see them talking Bjergsen, TheOddOne back and forth. A lot is on the table for these guys, right?
So much is on the table here for Team SoloMid. Lucian out of it. And TSM goes for, I think they're going to lock in those Xin Zhao and Corki picks. Obviously, Turtle didn't have the greatest performance last game. Should get outlaned a little bit by Cloud9's duo, and TheOddOne was not able to make an impact on Xin Zhao, but with stronger lanes, there is a chance that it could have a bigger impact this game.
Yeah, TSM picking the same champs as last time, the only difference being that Renekton was banned in Game 1, so TSM got it this time for Dyrus, so ostensibly an upgrade on the lineup, but if they think the only mistake was strategic play as opposed to them getting out-comped in champ select, this could be TSM wanting to just repeat the performance and just try again in version 2.
But Cloud9's strategic play was just so good.
Absolutely.
Teams generally do not beat them at that game. That's what TSM wants to try and go and do. Cloud9, of course, still having their trends as far as pick goes. The supports that they've played throughout the playoffs have been very long-range supports. A couple Morgana, Karma game as well. They picked Morgana and Jax. So they're going to be looking to do lane swaps, absolutely.
This is interesting to me because I feel like the mind games get more severe at this stage because the red team is typically the team that initiates the lane swap. They send their duo lane top. Most of the time, that is how I see it being set up. So if TSM really wants to do 2v2s, they either mirror that and Cloud9 knows that and mind games it, or someone gets really deep wards down to find the matchups they're looking for.
That's going to be so interesting as we go into this one. As far as TSM's meta is concerned, what are they planning here? Why would they hover Rumble? That makes more sense.
It's WildTurtle, man. He's wild. They can't tame him. He just picks whatever he wants and locks him at the end. TSM, if they do... Yeah, the thing is, if TSM was getting out-positioned before, if they grab more engaged, they can maybe get in on this.
This is such an early game team that TSM is locking down right now. Karma and Renekton, as far as lanes go, have a steep decline after the 25-minute mark as far as overall power goes. Not to mention, Corki does not have a 6-item scaling as well as other 80 carries. TSM is absolutely looking to dominate lanes and try and win the game that way against Cloud9. They're going all in with this strategy.
All in indeed. I mean, there was a line that was said during CLG vs TSM, which was, this is the comp TSM wants to win, or wants to use when they want to win at 25 minutes. And this is basically the same thing right here. This is
what I said yesterday.
Yeah, it was you. I didn't realize. It was you who said it. So I'm glad you caught me on that quote. Good job, Jat.
Lulu
comes
coming
through.
down, trying to match support for support in the mid lane. Lulu is very much like Karma. Karma mid lane, I feel like, arises because you look at why Lulu is strong and you say, if that's true, what else is true? And Karma is most similar to sharing those characteristics with long range, slowing Q damage. Also, all of the shield ability power ratio scaling. Cloud9 with a very strong late game teamfight composition.
Yeah, just imagine if Balls gets rolling there. You've got a black shield and Lulu, a mid-lane Lulu, so a very powerfully shielding and wild-growthing Lulu to make you run around and go mental. Last time we saw Balls play Jax, he got a quadra kill against Curse, and I would say not single-handedly carried, but had such a giant impact that he was a large reason for the victory there of C9. So TSM have to know that. I mean, they had to have watched that game and say, okay, keep this in mind. Balls quadra equals we probably lose. Don't let it happen.
Don't let quadra kills happen against you or pentakills. Those are generally
only Bjergsen
showing you lose the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If Bjergsen gets the penta, they'll be okay. Okay. Well, the game is about to get underway, so tweet your predictions to @LOL Esports and use the hashtag TSM win or C9 win. We want to hear from you guys. And let us know who you think is really going to take this one. Cloud9 definitely with a commanding game 1, but it's a fresh game, fresh slate. See if TSM can pull it back.
And it's going to be rather critical. I mean, the head-to-head score between these two teams is now moved to 11-1. That is the most devastating playoff victory Cloud9 has ever had against TSM, 18 kills to 1.
Yeah.
TSM does not lose that badly very frequently, and then the time they have to adapt isn't very long either. They were able to come back in Game 2 against COG. Almost everyone had actually written them off after seeing that Game 1. So do not count this team out. They've been around for a while.
They absolutely have. This is a team that tends to always do rather well in playoffs no matter what. Even if TSM's the underdog, they show up. I remember you were talking about last playoff performances. TSM came into the summer playoffs last year with an 0-4 record against CLG and 2-0'd them back in the old quarterfinals. The crowd, obviously very much in TSM's favor, thinking they can pull back Game 2.
There's a few Cloud9 supporters trying to come in as well.
Yes, there are. This is going to be fun. This is kind of the new top rivalry of North America.
Yeah, honestly.
TSM CLG won't go away, but TSM C9 is the finals so much.
Throughout the spring split here in 2014, everyone was waiting for this best-of-5 matchup between TSM for Cloud9 because the whole split, they were head and shoulders above everyone else as far as overall record goes, and they traded the #1 seed a couple of times as far as the standings are concerned. And we're going to get the final standings in just a couple more games.
Couple to a few, depending.
Couple to a few. If it's a couple, that
Then
means Cloud9 wins.
Absolutely.
If it's a few, TSM still has a chance.
Gotta see what it is. TSM still holding the fan vote online. 127 in the game. Battle line so far drawn. Line of scrimmage, but it's a match. So line of matchage for these guys. Cloud9, sneaky.
That is a quadra kill.
Team go through.
Let's go, get the pentakill.
That's not supposed to happen.
Well, pentakill happened at some point.
Obviously, here we have Cloud9 invading pretty heavily.
And here we go. So the invade down towards the bottom side of the map. C9 do want to be against the weaker turret, even if there is a lane swap. TSM waiting around the wings, though. They're going for a flank. C9 going to get revealed. They're going to have to back off. Binding them through. OddOne is there, though. This could be the fight.
Cloud9 is afraid
Jumps
of.
in, balls, goes for the stun. Doesn't find anything. Xpecial could re-engage with this one. TSM pushed them back.
Cloud9 did say there might be one really one-sided game because of a level 1 invade in this series, just because of the way that they play. They come out of this one mostly unscathed, but it still puts them behind early on in the jungle because they had to retreat after that invade.
So no leash at all for Meteos. His dual lane is down there.
Elise is probably the one jungler that can easily sustain through without a leash.
So let's see if the OddOne can capitalize with the fact that he's going to have the earlier jungle start. Meteos just now finished the first camp. Look at this, the OddOne.
Smart.
Going across the map to steal the red buff.
And they do not have duo lane protection here because they're in conventional lanes once again. The lanes are playing out in TSM's favor drastically. They get the Renekton versus the Jax in a 1v1 matchup. Jax should not be able to handle this. Renekton should dominate balls right up top.
And look at that by Dyrus. He pushes the wave in and gets on the bottom side. If someone does show, he will get there before balls and tip the matchup. Meteos is not going to stop this, puts the Spiderling down, and actually misses the little minis there. So he's going to be well far behind unless he spots his camp again. He should actually know that the camp's not cleared.
Yeah, he will spot that camp. He knows he's been counter-juggled by the OddOne. Nice double move there by the OddOne, getting Meteos down a little bit. That is a very critical, especially for the top lane matchup. When you pick such heavy lane bullies, it is absolutely critical that your jungler put the other jungler down as well, because that just means your lanes get to capitalize on their inherent advantages even more so.
Oh, speaking of advantages, push in upward, sneaky down well below half. WildTurtle finding the pressure to go through. Nice pickups in this one. Especially on WildTurtle now getting a quick early lead here. See if the minions can be equalized.
And even though it doesn't reflect in the early gold total, TSM has had many things go drastically in their favor thus far. Setting Meteos behind, getting that early damage onto Sneaky, since every time he levels up, he will heal for less if he's sitting at lower health. And the fact that they're getting the 1v1 lanes in the top of the map will all be benefits of TSM.
And so you're going to see if LemonNation can maybe equalize the health just a little bit, getting some of the damage down with his Spell Thief's Edge, Tormented Soul doing a bit there. Bjergsen pushing very heavily, Meteos only wearing 1 buff, but most of the way to level 4. Trinkets on Dragon, looks for the flank, but that's going to be spotted by WildTurtle's Trinket Ward. TSM back off, and they're going to be safe.
And look at this, OddOne coming in huge early on in this game too. He was 0-6 in game 1, and he's trying to make sure that doesn't happen again. Setting Meteos back and really controlling this top side of the jungle, which is quite honestly the most important side of the jungle for TSM, since Dyrus and Bjergsen's success is so critically tied to TSM victories.
Ooh, can they dive balls? They know Meteos on the wrong side of the map. Actually, Wards will watch Meteos go towards his Wraith camp, so there's time. TSM knows they've got time, but Meteos is like, hold on. Balls might get dived. He runs right up there. No dive yet for TSM.
Oh, this could be absolutely disastrous for Meteos. He comes in, realizes he's been counter-jungling, and he gets jumped on.
Some good damage, but a nice cocoon will keep Meteos safe. OddOne will not find the knockup, but it's a half-health Elise. Not exactly in fighting shape.
Yeah, he popped out and stunned OddOne very quickly, which saves his skin, but does not save his Golem camp. The big one was taken away.
And the recall does finish for balls. He's going to be safe, has the teleport. He can get back if he needs. High. Kind of fighting with Bjergsen. Bjergsen ran up in case there was some kind of an altercation. You saw him on the wrong side of the lane, but that was for the team. And you see it's a 7 minion lead in that mid lane right there. TSM, the tiniest of gold leads right now. Mostly, that is the Dyrus versus Balls matchup. 39-26. The recall already forced. Balls not even TPing to the lane, so Meteos had to hold that wave under turret. That's an XP and gold advantage. Good Black Shield Xpecial. Doesn't go in for Sneaky.
I'm really trying to think as this mid lane battle goes down, why exactly these lanes played out the way they did as far as formations go. And I think it actually did have to do with Cloud9 kind of mind gaming themselves. There's no team in their right mind here in the finals would want to 1v1 a Jax against a Renekton. So therefore, TSM would have expected an absolute swap. So they thought TSM would do it the other way as well. But because TSM just played it standard, Cloud9 actually played it counter standard by putting it up this way, and that's why we see that matchup. Doing a later rotation wouldn't be beneficial.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And kind of thinking about it, in terms of the mind games there, I think this is probably the best choice for C9, because if they got it wrong the other way, they'd have the worst push.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you don't want to be double wrong. That would be even worse.
There was also that level 1 where Cloud9 put a lot of the invade in, and since their bottom lane was down for that invade, there's no way they could have gotten them into the top lane without falling greatly behind. So the only option was for them to teleport up and meet Dyrus up there.
Yeah, so here we go. Bit of a wave freeze now for Cloud9. WildTurtle, though, going to recall on 60 minion kills, meaning he's got enough to make his purchase of a BF sword if he wants it, and a couple potions just to make sure. So that is with a 7 minion lead, to be fair. So if Sneaky recalls off this, he's only sitting at, he's got 1700. Never mind. Sneaky's fine there. I was wondering if WildTurtle had enough of a lead that you couldn't answer the recall right away. But that's not the case. OddOne going to grab his own red buff once again. The respawns have come in. Meteos going to do the same with blue buff for High here. So second jungle rotations, nothing major happening. Just TSM holding the small laning lead.
This game is fairly similar to game 1 of the series as far as the start goes, except all the mini advantages were going to Cloud9 in game 1. This time all the mini advantages are actually going to TSM. So you can see that very scary Crocodile in the top lane takes almost half of Ball's health in a quick trade.
So level 7 versus level 6.5 right there. Dyrus once again going for
Tiamat. It's going to be a very important roam, actually, to see how aggressive Dyrus gets to the turret, trying to shut down Balls here. Does take one turret shot, and his Slicing Dice is down now.
And the stun's going to land. Help Pick's going to go through as well. Ball's got to be a little bit careful. Gets the ulti. That should be very safe. Nowhere for Dyrus to go, and Balls secures first blood.
And notice how High stopped attacking at the end, because even though a kill onto Lulu is nice, it is way more critical that Balls has the gold to fight Dyrus. That only evens it out there as the invade continues from TSM.
They want to steal the red buff, but it's not going to happen there. It's going to be secured there. Meteos and High helping. The mid laner well away from his lane, letting Bjergsen push that lane even farther in. But it's par for the course, right? Cloud9's mid laner, 55 minions only at 9 minutes, but it got his team first blood, and he got his team a red buff. High plays for his team, not for himself. You're seeing the evidence right here.
It was a very timely roam up to catch Dyrus. It did even out the gold in the top lane. Especially with that TMAC coming in from Dyrus, it is critical that Balls gets to his Blade of the Ruin King as quickly as possible.
And it's interesting how differently timed these blue buffs are as well, looking at the factors in the map. Ooh. Nice little pick. The ulti goes through. LemonNation wants this kill. The tether's still there on the WildTurtle, but he takes a lot of damage on the backside. Ulti comes if. Summoner heal.
Yep.
Bit more than needed, I think, but especially going to take some harass again. LemonNation also forced away. One summoner down for TSM.
Yeah, this is going to be turning into a brawl. High again trying to roam. He's got to be careful not to over-roam and lose control of his mid lane turret. A lot of pings going down here, whether to try and stop this push or just take the dragon, because Dyrus is waiting in the wings.
This could be all kinds of interesting. Maybe a bit of a 3 versus 2. TSM making their way down. Put a ward to make sure it's all safe. Meteos goes back in. He'll save the wave.
TSM needs to make a play right now. Dyrus has abandoned his post in the top lane, so they either have to get a push on the mid lane or a straight down to the dragon. High trying to harass them as much as possible. They are really just delaying. A fight here would be suicidal by Cloud9.
Well, Dyrus has teleport. Balls does not. He's going to push this top lane up and get some experience back, but TSM says, you know what, screw the turret. We want the money from Dragon. Special leading the charge in this one. This will go over, and the turret won't even die. Bjerg's actually getting a bit of a catch there onto High. Some damage comes through. Meteos. Cocoon's gonna land on WildTurtle.
Well, Dyrus is gone right now to 44.
Oh my gosh, Xpecial about to fall. The chase down. Sneaky gets it. WildTurtle in bad shape. Repel comes through for Meteos. He finds a second. Oddman's ulti not quite coming through in time. LemonNation taking big poke. But Bjergsen getting binded means more damage comes through. Oddman low on health. Cloud9 get 2 kills for Dragon.
This is just such an awesome series to watch because you see TSM making really smart plays, but then Cloud9 still finding a way of taking advantage. At that moment, TSM had a roam down bottom from Dyrus, as they do a little brawl in the top lane. A roam bottom from Dyrus, but then because he had went back to the top, Cloud9 then found the engage. It was smart of Dyrus to go up because they got the dragon, he needed to get back to his post, but then TSM didn't expect that immediate aggression from Cloud9. That's why they're able to go in and get those kills, chasing everybody down.
And Balls gets away from the fight, no worries. Got Dyrus super low.
He traded almost everything right there, and this is a Bjergsen roam coming back.
Summoner teleport gonna be used. Ignite is on the stun. Dyrus picks up the kill. Balls a little too greedy on that one. Getting the recall first.
First big play there by TSM where Balls could not take advantage of what TSM had done. Because of everything that happened during that replay, Balls committed very heavily to try and end the lane against Dyrus by getting a kill. Dyrus survived, and that had overcommitted Balls into a roam kill for Bjergsen.
Well played. Now both these mid laners have shown up top to turn that matchup the way they wanted it to. Dyrus now up. It's going to be actually pushing the bottom lane first. Black Shield use, Xpecial. Doesn't find much thanks to Dark Binding. But yeah, so both mid laners have tried to make that top lane work for them. And Dyrus, now that this team is up a dragon and he's up 20 CS in lane, he's got to be ahead here.
These mid laners are roaming so incredibly much right here. High can't get over aggressive because they do have to worry about what comes from behind them there. Meteos trying to hold mid lane. He's not the best person for this job.
Yeah, rank 1W, not the ideal situation, but he'll do what he can. Bjergsen and OddOne are there to put out some damage. High will be joining the party a little bit late on this one. You're seeing the shield going towards the OddOne. They're putting out some decent damage, but the retreat pings come out. They know about this. High pushed away.
Very good zone control by Bjergsen in the mid lane. That CS advantage is ever growing. Every solo lane right here for TSM does have a lead. It's just the team play of Cloud9 that has kept this game close. This top lane is becoming much more interesting here. Balls trying to get some aggression on.
Ulti popped in on both sides, but Dyrus getting pushed completely away. He's got to sustain back up. It's Cutlass versus Tiamat and Giant Spell. I feel like Dyrus is very tanky, but if Balls gets one set of good traits, it's not a good thing.
Yeah, the Karma Roam is coming at him once again, though, so Balls has to be careful about this. The ward control is actually dropped in the river. Right there, that's why he wards over the wall to see the Karma approach. Bjergsen just doing his best to harass him down. There's a lot of Karma damage here.
Balls does not land the stun, actually.
One more rotation of
late.
Spells.
This is going to be close. Balls 300 health.
The Q.
He's running back and forth. There's a W coming through the Q. Lands. Bjergsen gets the solo kill.
That is the lane control from Bjergsen here. So much of Dyrus' top lane has been ruined against Cloud9 when High and Meteos roam up to kill him. He's finally experiencing the other side of the game, with Balls dying twice to Bjergsen.
And that puts TSM now 700, 800 gold in the lead. The first major lead we've seen so far for TSM in this final match, but they're poised to look good in game 2. High is going to push his opponent away for a short time. Mid lane turret did not fall because of that roam. OddOne held the wave and held it successfully. Cloud9 pretty much holding equal to negative across all their matchups. TSM doing a great job in the laning phase. The turret and Dragon, of course, helping quite a bit as well. Down 1 kill. Dragon's in 2 minutes. We'll see where the next move is.
And while these teams are going hit for hit against each other, it is important to note that OddOne's Wriggle's Lantern is actually fairly slowly transforming. He's only at 13 stacks right now. Very low CS as well. A lot of his emphasis was put on early game counter jungling to make sure his lanes could have the solo experience that they required. It has worked out for TSM, but not necessarily for the OddOne.
Ooh, nice move by High. Gets himself behind the minion wave to block the next Q from Bjergsen. Pops the Whimsy. He's getting a little bit careful, but Bjergsen now out of cooldowns. High finds a trade back in. He gets himself a positive trade on that one.
High, of course, still has that wild growth. If he gets all in, there is an Ignite on Bjergsen's side for a little bit of extra aggression. That mid lane matchup is absolutely going to Bjergsen this time. His roam top lane could not be understated with how important it has been to keep Dyrus going.
So Dyrus just kind of pushing balls while you're seeing the Jax not even try to stay in this lane right now. Going around, putting a ward down, but has to be pretty afraid. Spotted out by Dyrus. Both these guys level 10. Double Doran's Blade comes through for balls, plus a Ninja Tabby. Just try to hold on a little bit longer in these fights. Ulti again. Bjergsen got great wave clear on Karma.
Yeah, that mid lane is going to be shoving so much back and forth. It's actually a 900 gold lead on Bjergsen, though, when compared with High. And he's even went for that Null Magic Mantle, which is not very like a Lulu to do, because he's just taking so much damage from Bjergsen. He needs a little bit of extra defensive capability before he goes for those bigger AP ticket items on Lulu.
So the game's slowing down a bit. We haven't seen action since that kill in the top lane. These guys trading farms, 600-700 gold, still the difference. But Dragon's up in 4.
I think with these teams, so many moves will have a chain reaction off of the Dragon plays. We can see the beginning of it right now. TSM trying to get a pre-Dragon gank down so they could take it without contention. And Meteos, hoping that that's going to be happening, is trying to gank the top lane. This would be a turret trade / kill trade. TSM goes, so does Cloud9.
Okay, level lead for Dyrus. He goes in, but Meteos as well. Ball's trying to take this one down the CC. The flash cocoon lands despite Dyrus' flash. Will the second rotation be enough? Down to 500 health. The turret dive now coming through. What does Dyrus have? Doesn't land anything. Balls picks up the kill, and he's got teleport, but TSM take the Dragon for it.
Yep, an absolute trade of objectives right there. Almost worked out for TSM if Dyrus could have flashed a little bit sideways from that cocoon, but he flashed straight away, got hit anyway, and Cloud9 could chase down. But because they chased so far and Dyrus already had a lot of advantage in that lane, it's a kill for Dragon instead of a kill turret for Dragon.
Yeah, that was so impressive there. Dyrus, despite going down, took one, I think, properly for the team with that one. And I also got to assume with how good C9 are, they knew Dragon was right then. They knew there was no counter gank. OddOne was taking Dragon right then, but as you said, the minions not able to pull through for C9. That was that good for TSM.
Yes, that was Cloud9's attempt to outplay TSM's move, since TSM is much stronger in the mid-game Dragon fights. Knowing there's teleport on both the top laners, they didn't want a 5v5, and with TSM's advantage, they were able to come out slightly ahead because Dyrus played it well.
Absolutely, he did, and he holds on to a 35 minion lead in the matchup. Sunfire Cape already done. So Sunfire Tiamat versus not even a completed Blade of the Ruined King. I gotta say, that is a significant lane matchup lead. High pushing back against Bjergsen, but Bjergsen doesn't even take damage for this. The shields are strong enough there. He's getting towards that death cap, whereas High is building magic resist. Even though the gold lead on the map, on the top scoreboard, doesn't look that big for TSM, they've spiked up a lot of items.
Yes, it is a 1,000 gold advantage for both of TSM's solo laners, so the longer they can keep this isolated phase going, the better it is for them. But another gank from onto Dyrus right here. If they can land the cocoon, there it is.
The flash jump there. Dyrus has no spells up, not even the ult, but he's got nowhere to go, and Balls gets the 3rd kill in a row onto Dyrus.
Right now, Cloud9's strategy is just get Balls going. They continually gank for him. They want Jax to be a threat in the late game, and it is very tense at this moment. All the ganks have exposed them in other areas. You can see the rest of their lanes, especially the mid, are struggling a little bit, whereas Balls isn't even doing that great despite all of the gank assistance.
Gonna try to catch back up. Double dagger comes through, but still no recipe. High's mid lane turret is about to go down. Bjergsen, one more shot. He will claim that. So Team SoloMid now has their second turret kill. The sights might be set on bottom. They get a blue buff steal.
They're trying to kill him again.
Wow, Dyrus, poor Dyrus pops the ulti, but the stun comes through, and it's another kill for Cloud9. They refuse to let Dyrus live.
That was a straight up mistake. Cloud9 also pushing down bottom lane because they were getting flanked from behind. This could be a very dead duo for Cloud9 in the bot lane.
LemonNation's got to be careful. Lands a root onto Special, but there comes the nice solar flare. It's not going to be the Zenith Blade, and here comes High to keep him safe. Top lane outer turret goes down, and C9 get away.
Cloud9 is actually escaping this. They had no business getting away from that one because it was pretty much a pile-on dive to the bottom lane. They went the only place where TSM wasn't and still got out of this one. Plus, they rotate for a turret push in the mid lane.
It's down to half. Cloud9 can't stay too much longer. So they're going to back out on this one. So, geez, a lot just happened in the recent past. We're back to an equal game on gold. Balls sitting at 4-2 and 0 score with this one, holding onto the bottom lane.
He's only 200 gold behind right now. They trade blue buff for blue buff if we look at the big picture here. Did he not get that?
Lemon got it instead of High.
That's not good.
That was greedy, too.
Yeah.
There's no one around. He just dark binded it and said, nope.
Whoops.
To be fair, they both have the same score. Equal participation. Lemon's having just the same game as High.
But really, trying to track what just happened, Dyrus made his first mistake of the game right there, teleporting to the top turret. It is so easy to underestimate the strength of Jax when he has full attack speed stacks while beating on your turret. Engaging on a mid-fight Jax is nearly suicide. And the rest of TSM missed an opportunity. If that was played a little bit differently, or if Cloud9 had played a little bit worse during that, TSM would have a 3,000 or 4,000 gold advantage after all that happened. Dyrus wouldn't have died in the top lane. They would have killed Sneaky and LemonNation, and this would be a completely different game. But because Cloud9 is scraped by, they're kind of back into this game after having a pretty big disadvantage in the early game.
And look how passive now TSM starting to play. WildTurtle, no one was on that side of the map, but didn't have vision. He was last hitting with rockets. He's afraid of the minion wave, just at equal footing, with a turret like on screen.
It's true. Oh no, the Gatling gun sound is stuck. Do not watch Corki again.
It's been jammed. He's got to reload it properly.
Bjergsen,
take better care of your gun.
Bjergsen's death cap is incredibly critical here, though, because the advantage between High could actually be one of the big things that decides this game if they can force some mid-game team fights in a minute around that next dragon, or with some nice turret pushing. Everyone on TSM trying to group up and take advantage of this.
WildTurtle shooting that turret down as fast as he possibly can. Taking a bunch of damage in this one. Minions are still there. It's going to be a good collapse. TSM does take the tier 2 turret down in the bottom lane, making that 4-2 and a 700 gold lead.
I'm sorry. The rest of TSM is actually trying to rotate down to the mid lane right here as the turret is being pushed by High and Meteos. Oh dear, that is some big moves right here. Everyone on TSM trying to come in. High trying to escape this one.
All right, the rappel does get him away there. The cocoon's going to land on TheOddOne. It's going to be C9 still trying to run away. Thankfully, there's no outer turret blocking Meteos' path. He is still on the escape. Good whimsy by High. Has to flash the Glitter Lance finds onto many. And that will be C9 getting away.
Game sounds have been taken down a little bit just because of the Gatling gun, as we fix that on the spectator end. But this is now a bottom lane push by Sneaky right here. They're starting to even out the turrets from TSM. If TSM loses control here, there is some big penalties for that overall in their chance for this win.
And Dragons in 7 seconds. I want to know what, because the thing is, like, I feel like teams aren't even going to be team fighting for Dragon necessarily. I mean, maybe they do in this case, but every time Dragon's up, something else happens too.
Well, with the Dragon up right now, it is very critical that TSM come to get this, but it's been an early start by Sneaky. He's getting a little bit low. This is a very critical fight. TSM is trying to make it in rage and will want to fight.
Both top laners have their teleports there, but then
Flash
the other side of the map, flash engage. Wow, yes, TheOddOne. He trades his life, but down goes LemonNation. Knockup from High. It's a 2 versus 3 in this battle to a certain extent. The fight's coming through. So 1 for 1. Sorry, I got that one wrong. Here we go. The battle's still coming across. WildTurtle to the back line, gets the heal, staying alive. Bjergsen, though, gets locked down, and he's going to fall. Sneaky cutting back away from Xpecial. High trying to help his team out, but Xpecial, the dash over the wall. Sneaky survives this one. Now Xpecial is on the run.
The outplays in these fights, they are playing at such a high level right now, and TSM is just barely losing out these ones. Ball's actually teleported to the bot lane to try and continue this push after dueling Dyrus, and they clean up on the backside.
nicely done for that one. It's going to be another kill, making that a 3-for-1 overall, despite the great Dragon Steal from TheOddOne.
That's the thing that keeps TSM in this game as well, is those Dragon Steals from TheOddOne. After losing the fight, it would have been devastating if they lost even more.
So they sit on a 600 gold deficit right now. TSM had a lot of good looks in the early game here. Some good plays. Dyrus was winning his matchup, but now that Renekton is 1-4-0. Not the kind of score you'd want from someone you expect to win the lane. Yeah. But that was all of C9's attention. Everywhere else, it went great for TSM.
High roamed up there. Almost all of Meteos' ganks were there. They spent multiple turret dives on it. They really care about the late game of Jax and making sure balls can do that. They picked Jax into the Renekton matchup, so that's kind of how they had to play this one. And it's just been a matter of how much can TSM take while Cloud9 puts so much attention towards that top lane.
See what it ends up being. TSM want to control Baron right now, though. This is their area of the map that they want to hold. 800 gold deficit means basically nothing. As you talked about, Bjergsen having a death cap versus the Merc Treads of High is such a substantial advantage that we can see if TSM can turn a fight off that without Bjergsen getting caught this time around. Trinity Force also done here for WildTurtle, so he's hit a power spike. There's some extra MR on Xpecial. He shouldn't be taking too much damage from High either.
Yeah. It's actually a 2,000 gold difference between High and Bjergsen, so the gold is distributed much differently across these teams because the overall gold lead is advantage of Cloud9, but that means the other 4 members of Cloud9 are actually 4,000 gold ahead the 4 members of TSM. So it's kind of playing out the way you would expect. Bjergsen is trying to be the hard carry, the sole holder of their gold lead, whereas Cloud9 is more evenly spread out and High is in a more supportive role for his team.
Speaking of being sort of supportive for the team as well, LemonNation, you talked about it last game, but him going for the 40% CDR build, same situation here. Aether Wisp picked up, so soon he'll have the Twin Shadows once again. And those upgrades when he gets there to the massive Dark Bindings, of which he hits one right there onto Bjergsen. Yeah. Makes him take some damage for the ward sweeping.
Bjergsen can't afford to get caught by those Dark Bindings in the open. It's okay in the Baron Pit like that, but it's a 3-second route, and he has no tenacity. Plus, there is no Mikhail's completed on Xpecial. There's no escape if he gets caught by a Dark Binding. Cloud9 would kill him.
None at all. He's got to be a little bit more careful about this one. Does not even have flash either, so Bjergsen has to be doubly cautious. Actually, very few summoners at all are up for TSM right now. If they get caught out, it will be killed. WildTurtle, though, he wants Meteos. Repel is used. He doesn't have anywhere to go. Cocoon at the last second does land on the WildTurtle. That is a rank 3 Cocoon, so it takes a good long time. Spiderlings now blocking rockets. No damage taken by Meteos on the retreat. Good escape right there. LemonNation, good Black Shield, doesn't quite find Dyrus.
TSM is going to want to control this one immediately, though. They saw High was in a side lane, and now the jungle threat for Cloud9 is down. They can do this Baron without taking much damage because of the shields from Karma. It is on Cloud9 to try and stop this one, though. No jungler coming in to try and defend this Baron.
We'll see what they can do with this one. Wards come across. Baron down below 1/3 HP. It's still taking a bit of damage. TSM do not disengage, but the kill picked up on Xpecial. Balls goes in for the fight. Baron's not low enough to kill, though. It's a kill into WildTurtle. Dyrus and TheOddOne staying for this one. The knockup. TheOddOne pushed out of the pit. Double kill. Triple kill here for Sneaky. He's killing everybody. And now Balls secures Baron in a 4-for-0.
Wow. That play right there may decide the game for Cloud9. They collapsed on TSM, who had completely overcommitted to the Baron. When you're doing Baron, TSM knows this. You either peel off or you finish the Baron. They did a half and half, and that made it not a 4v5. It made it a Cloud9 and Baron versus TSM. That's why they won so convincingly.
And so it's a Baron buff picked up, a couple of kills, as well as the mid lane inhibitor. C9 going to be sure to disengage after that one, but they swept the minions away and now hold on to a significant 7,000 gold.
Taking another look at this one, Xpecial went in while Dyrus was ulted on the Baron, and he didn't even peel off. Then it's dead. It's now a 4v4, and they're still hitting the Baron instead of peeling. It's not low enough to do that at that point. Cloud9 uses the free time to decimate the TSM team trapped within the Baron pit, and they take everything from TSM.
What an amazing team fight there. Cloud9 got a heck of a lot for that one. They're looking awesome now in game 2. High just got his death cap off that fight. It's a 3rd completed item for Sneaky as well. Phantom Dancer, Last Whisper are now in the build. Twin Shadows are done. Everything now looking so much better for this Cloud9 lineup. A 6-0-3 Sneaky, gotta say, on Graves. He's having a gigantic impact here.
And just because of all the miscellaneous assist and Baron gold that High picked up off of that, he could complete his death cap. So he is kind of crested back towards Bjergsen's level as far as power goes. Karma and Lulu, arguably Lulu actually has better late game scaling, and since we're now 30 minutes into the game, it's actually swinging back towards High. Balls though, wonder if he can take on 2 of them.
Here's an opener there. It's going to be the root landed. Balls puts the stun up and goes for Bjergsen. How's the damage going to be? The knockback from the TheOddOne, the jump in towards Bjergsen, the shield not keeping him quite alive enough. The damage still comes through the flashes. Very successful for Bjergsen. That is a shutdown going to the TheOddOne with the Pharaoh Flare, but that was all for Dragon, and a push in the bottom lane for Cloud9.
Committed 3. What can Cloud9 get back on the other side? Every time TSM makes a move, Cloud9 tries to take an edge. They get the turret off of this one.
All right, global gold lead even bigger for C9. That is a Baron off of balls and a bit of a shutdown gold, but still you got to say better for the red team. 13-4 in this game, still 8,000 up, and they own the jungle.
What an interesting turn of events in this game. Cloud9 was really pressed for so much of the early game. And we said in Champion Select that TSM was really all in at winning this game in the first 25 minutes. The way Karma scales, the way Renekton does, so much lane advantage, but now he is no match for Jax. You actually saw them having to put 3 people in the top lane just to take down balls. The TheOddOne, even though he has transformed his Pharaoh Flare, it's rather late. He's not incredibly powerful with it. Meteos with his % health damage and his magic penetration is more substantial of an impact than Xin Zhao right now. And obviously, because of all the kills this Sneaky's picked up in team fights, and even though Graves isn't known as a tremendous late game carry, when compared to Corki, he has more power. So everyone on Cloud9 now, because they've crested that 31-minute mark in the game while actually holding a gold lead, are even more ahead of TSM at this juncture.
So let's see what we can do with this one now, because Cloud9 going to look to turn the screws. They are not a team to wait around when they have the lead. This is a group of guys who close their games out rather quickly and efficiently, and right now the focus is on the bottom lane with ball split pushing top. Teleport is available on the Jax, and the wave is cleared away. 3 to 4 members now of C9 waiting for this next wave. TSM waiting to defend. And here comes the siege.
Cloud9 has the same synergy here with the 6-second cooldown on the Cocoon and the 6-second cooldown on the Dark Binding. They're just going to take pot shots at TSM until they find something. And if they do, they can dump down a whole bunch of damage with Glitter Lances and Graves AoE.
WildTurtle does take some poke there. So they found one piece of the puzzle. There's a Bloodthirster for lifesteal though for the Corki. Maybe he'll survive that one. There's the push in from Dyrus. Balls actually pops his ulti, then not take damage while hitting that turret.
Yeah, that's not the most beneficial move for him right now. Renekton, really the whole game, has a great chance of 1v1ing him, but Cloud9 getting pretty bold with these mid lane pushes.
Bottom turret's going to lose a quarter of its health right here. Mid lane inhibitor going to be respawning very soon. Cloud9 do move their way around. 32-11 into the game, that comes back up, but just as soon as it gets pushed, Balls comes around as well. Try to hold this with the team for a 5-man push. Sneaky not getting too scared. But there
here comes the Renekton ultimate, but no clean engage. TSM wants to force something. Cloud9 staying fairly grouped up. Spooky Ghost come out to slow.
Yeah, it's going to be the slow. Dyrus still in the front lines, but just gets rooted down. His ulti basically doing nothing on this one. Sneaky putting in damage from the back lines. Only 300 damage crits, but there's the stun. Dyrus getting locked down. A great solar flare comes in the back. C9 back up once more, but that's 2 ultimates down for TSM.
Very pokey team fights, but Cloud9 a little bit stronger after all that. Gets the inhibitor and backs away unscathed.
And that goes down 144 until Baron respawns, meaning super minions will threaten TSM's base while Baron is on the map and in play. Something that C9 might just wait around for. We'll have to see what they choose to do with this one. Ball's still just getting as much gold as possible. He's actually counter-jungling. I guess that's Larry the White Camp, right? Quick shot, so that's the way that one's going to work. And still just gold being accrued. C9 waiting for their next opening.
Yeah, Cloud9 has been able to wait a very long time this game in order to make this happen. All of the ganks that Meteos prioritized towards Balls are really paying off for them at this juncture in the game. So much of it really does have to go down to that split decision from TSM where they were not on the same page around the Baron pit. That is really a huge detriment to their overall strategy here, because that was their moment. That was when they were strongest. I feel like past this point, they're really just hoping that Cloud9 makes a mistake. And Cloud9 is not the type of team to make errors this big.
It's very unlikely for these guys. They very, very seldom lose a game when they've got a gold lead. The siege bottom didn't do much. All they did was really recapitalize on the mid inhibitor going down and kept that one as pressure. The minion waves all passed the river for these guys, though Dyrus wants something to say about that one. And we'll see Baron 24 seconds away. Dragon 113, well, 108 now. And this seems to be the objective control game. C9 taking it nice and slow. They know TSM very good at defending.
Yeah, a lot of this just has to do with TSM being able to keep control of those super minions. They cannot let them reach their base. Luckily for them, it is the mid lane, which is a reachable lane as far as TSM's clearing is concerned. It's actually time the Cloud9 could find a fight if they get the right initiation. Kind of trying to cut TSM short there.
Not quite found. Twin Shadows halfway back in the cooldown. The Ghosts did return, at least partially, to LemonNation. And there we go. Mid lane, not immediately threatening, but Cloud9. Ooh, they walked right by a ward. TSM actually, I think, sees the fact that they're right here.
Yeah, they're going to know they're doing that Baron bait around the wall. There's no sweepers off cooldown yet for Cloud9. They try and fly in, but he gets smacked in the face by a Karma Q. Ball's still trying to find that initiation.
There's still a wave towards the bottom. Balls could TP and immediately force pressure, but that would be a big risk of getting collapsed on and a giant cooldown gone.
Then he wouldn't have any TP back either. That's not necessarily the best move, but coming around the side may just be their chance.
There we go. Balls lays the stun on a Dyrus. Dyrus going to dash backwards from this one. Going to not get locked up by a Dark Bunny, but a great Solar Flare does find OddOne with a gigantic opening with a 4-man ulti, but the LemonNation is going to be too much. OddOne about to fall. That's one kill picked up, and here comes the chase. Cloud9 get them out of their hair, and they run right back towards Baron.
They kill the jungler in a very shield-filled fight. It was very difficult to take down each other's carry, but this could be another Baron. We've seen this situation before. Skara says he knows the feel of those game-losing Barons. Because we've seen this, it was actually TSM with 5 on the Baron versus a dead jungler. Will they peel? Will they stick off? Will they secure? They secure.
Wow, very quickly picked up the teleport in for Dyrus, though. Binding does land onto him. He does not have spells available. The damage comes through. The stun as well. Sneaky, godlike now. 15-4. The overall score line, 10,000 gold Cloud9.
Cloud9 doing the Baron play right. Goodbye, says Sneaky right there to WildTurtle. They get the dragon afterwards. This is turning into a gargantuan gold.
And it's going to be the dragon easily falling with that one. LemonNation, that Tark binding was such a clutch shot right there. The ward set up for it, made it all happen. C9 now go to the bottom side. They don't even want to wait for TSM to respawn. They don't want to wait to cash in their gold. Baron buff in the 5v3 is enough for these guys.
Yeah, knowing that WildTurtle is down, a significant amount of TSM's damage threat is not able to defend right here. And they actually are keeping Karma back as well, meaning they can just power down this turret.
And there's the damage coming in. Balls and Sneaky putting out so much on that one. Down it goes. 37 minutes in. It's going to be a second inhibitor as well. And High is going to move back and hold in with his team. 5 men strong in the mid lane. 10 seconds until WildTurtle comes back up. It means the mid inhibitor will fall at the same time. There's 4 minutes of super minions now, and C9, they're not even done yet. They check, hey, is the red buff up? Can we take that first?
May as well take some more, because they're going to be waiting a little bit. They're all going to be going back to base before they try and do what I think would be a final push. They have really controlled this game once they reach their spike in power. Understanding when your champions are strong and when the enemy champions are strong. I think Cloud9 is the best team in North America in understanding power spikes, and that's exactly how they've won this game.
13,000 gold. Better champions at this point in. Higher levels as well. You've got basically a 2-level lead down the line for most of these champions on the map. So C9 now looking for the death blow. They've taken as much gold as they can. The recalls come through, and the final item purchases will be added. High adds a Morella Nomicon as his 4th offensive item.
Banshee's Veil comes out for Sneaky as well. That will protect him greatly if one of Bjergsen's Karma Qs finds its way through the tank line of Cloud9.
Guardian Angel for Balls, going to keep him safe, and a Zhonius for LemonNation.
Yeah, that means he can finally become an aggressive Morgana. He's went for the Alacrity boots 2 games in a row on Morg as well. And I really love that pickup on him.
Yeah.
The increased movement speed on Alacrity in the 4.5 patch, he's the first one to really take advantage of it. But it's just allowed him to move towards people much faster and mind game them with Dark Bindings. A lot of critical Dark Bindings deciding some fights here.
So TSM as a group of 5 are shoving out mid lane to try to buy some time for themselves, but C9 already knocking now at the front door in the top lane. Tier 2 turret likely to fall rather quickly. Falls never made it very far in this lane in the 1v1, but it was enough to get him into the late game. There's the turret. Number 8 on the map. TSM back in the defense here. But 2 dead inhibitors means super minions are coming in fast and furious down the bottom lane. Smite comes in, keeping him safe for now.
Blocker to the Iron Solari actually was burned there just because of very nice inner flame by Bjergsen over the wall. Now they're going in the side of the base, making this turret nearly indefensible for TSM. Ball's also had his attack speed stacked up, so he was even more threatening when he came in.
There's a giant wave in the bottom side of the map hitting the Nexus, meaning that WildTurtle had to defend that. This will be inhibitor number 3. Solar Flare comes in, Xpecial dives. There's the ulti from LemonNation. 1 kill already. It's going to be many more for Cloud9. Dyrus cannot stand back here. Sneaky and Meteos will kill him. That's a double kill for the Cloud9 jungler. Now in towards Bjergsen. Balls stays alive. 1 more kill picked up. 2 more kills picked up. Only WildTurtle is alive. The binding lands, and why not secure the kill real quick? That's going to be picked up there, and that is game 2 now. Cloud9, 1 game away from the spring split title.
This one took him a little bit longer. It was a little bit more tense in the mid game, but by the end of it, it was just as decisive as game 1. Cloud9 is now 1 game away from being the 2014 North American Summer Split champions.
And you can see it's confidence on their faces. I think Hai just said yep right there. They know everything that is happening in this series. They know what mistakes they made, they fixed for them. They knew it was tough in the matchup, and they camped for it. The amount of attention spent top lane so that balls could beat up on Dyrus. You saw how hard it was for that Renekton to have an impact in this game, because he was pushed down over and over again.
And here is the most troubling thing for TSM, or maybe the most encouraging thing for Cloud9. They have now played TSM in standard lanes 2 games in a row. And they also gave Dyrus a very good matchup with Renekton versus Jax, and they've overcome that both times.
Yeah.
Those were kind of 2 of the best scenarios that TSM could hope for. Coming into the series, the scouting report on TSM is this is what they wanted. They wanted these early games to happen the way they did. And Cloud9 is beating them at it, which is just a very bad sign for TSM, considering they now have to win 3 games in a row.
We've seen it. We've seen teams come back from an 0 to a best of 5, but that is a tall order. TSM, that's in front of them here. We'll see if they can do it. For more on Cloud9's win, let's send it back over to Quick Shot, Kobe, and St. Vicious.
Thank you very much, Freak. With that win, Cloud9 is now 9-0 in playoff games and are only 1 game away from clinching the title of Spring Split champions. Both of these teams went into the game straight head-to-head matchups for the 2nd game in a row. And for the 2nd game in a row, TSM have not been able to match Cloud9's laning.
Yeah, I mean, actually, no. The Renekton was a really good pick that game, and he was bullying really hard on the Jax. But Elise just kept going top. Meteos was babysitting him the whole time. He knew that he had to get Jax ahead. He needed to just like take care of him for a little bit, and he like grew him up like a little plant out of a seed. And he's like, oh, that's a really fed Jax, and he just ran everybody over.
Before Meteos started making moves, though, OddOne did have a good opening to this game, I want to say. They reacted to the failed invade from Cloud9 very well. He went red to red, stole away Meteos' buff, and he actually got the 3-buff start. And then he also returned to the top side and counter-jungled the red side jungle of Meteos, hugging that Renekton lane that was winning, that had the advantage, which is exactly what you want to do. But then, maybe like 7 minutes through, kind of gave up control of that area, and that's when Meteos came in, and he got balls, just 3 consecutive kills so quickly that got Jax out of control.
TSM appear to have been much more in this game for the first 15 to 20 minutes. They were trading kills, trading towers, trading objectives like you've already touched on. Unfortunately, it kind of went to hell at about 23 minutes in. It's the first replay I want to pull up onto your screens right now. It takes place around the Dragon Pit. Now, even though the Dragon was started off, let's just roll this clip immediately by Cloud9. TSM come in and it gets difficult.
So both top laners have the ability to stop each other from teleporting. So that's why neither team is really worried about the numbers getting away from them. This video, though, is like a Graves highlight video. OddOne uses his charge with his smite. He combos that damage to get Dragon, so he can't get on Graves after that. And Cloud9, again, I want to point out their ability to focus fire. Right there as well, Sneaky flashes away from the Phosphorus Bomb of WildTurtle. They call for the re-engage, the team, and they immediately focus fire the bottom half, the back line of Cloud9 there, or TSM, and they're able to take out all the damage and then leave Xpecial for last. And it's a very, very cleanly fought dragon fight right there, especially by Sneaky.
Yeah, I think the fact that OddOne uses charge to get on that dragon was incredibly critical point in that fight because he didn't have that to get on the Graves and just pop him up and get the CC on him real quick. He was just free to do whatever he wanted to do. Like he escaped with what, like 100 health, probably less than that. Imagine if he used that charge on the Graves. Like it could have been a completely different team fight.
Also, when Xin is an all-in character, so when he goes in on Dragon, you know exactly where he's going to be, and they immediately just blow him up. Like he didn't get to do anything after that. He did get the Dragon. You have to give him props though.
Yeah, he did manage to steal that one away. The one thing I also want to highlight, at 23 minutes in, TSM were ahead in towers, were ahead in gold, they were behind in kills, but that was 23 minutes of TSM not being smashed like we've seen in game 1. So a little bit more life. It was ruined, though, at 27 minutes. This is our next replay that I would like to call up onto your screens. And this was another team fight that Cloud9 just, really dominated. Let's roll this clip and Saint talk us through it.
Yeah, they chunked out Elise, so they felt like there was a good play to try to set up for Baron and maybe get a turn off, but it looked like they weren't on the same page. Xpecial goes in, nobody was behind him, ends up getting just picked off, and Baron, of course, is making it rain right now, increasing the magic damage everybody takes, and Corki just instantly gets blown up because he's stuck in the pit. He has nowhere to go. And just get cleaned up off this.
Yeah, really I think it's another good example of the focus of Cloud9 in their team fights. They have like a pinpoint accuracy with where they're putting their damage. Nobody's split in them, and they immediately take out the #1 targets, immediately go to #2. That's why you like listening to their the listens in on their voice comms. You can hear the focus that they do have.
This game was the win by Cloud9 because they outplayed Team SoloMid, or did Team SoloMid gift the win to Cloud9 by making mistakes? What's your thoughts?
I think TSM had a pretty good early game. They were making all the right plays. They were getting a lot of dragons. They were getting ahead in objective control, and they picked the right lanes, but they just looked like they got out team fighted. In both the scenarios we showed in the replay, just better. It looks like Cloud9 is better team fighting. Really what it comes down to.
Yeah, and I have to say, the fight around Dragon that we saw, it wasn't like the rest of TSM had to fight that. If it was just TheOddOne going in and sacrificing his life for Dragon Steal, that is worth it. Like, he got the Dragon Steal. If he was the only casualty for it, then it would have been a great win for them. The rest of the team stuck around. They got outplayed in that team fight around Dragon.
I want to step back and think very quickly about the picks and bans. Elise, once again, allowed through. We discussed at the end of the previous game what's going to happen with that one. Maybe TheOddOne will try to get his hands onto Elise. Renekton first pick. And yes, it had a strong-ish laning phase against Balls and Jacks, but Meteos never gave Dyrus any chance to continue to snowball that lead because he was ganked and camped so excessively hard. Do you think there is any other strategy that they could have employed in picks and bans that could have maybe helped Team SoloMid or hindered Cloud9 a little more?
I mean, I think they did the right moves. They did get that advantage early on with the Dragons, and they did get the advantage early on with Renekton, but they didn't really use it to capitalize on anything because they eventually did get in that team fight, and just Cloud9 is an amazing team fighting team. From like a core strategy standpoint from the beginning of the game, it looked like TSM was doing all the right moves. It's just... Just need to play a little bit better in the team fights.
Final question. Both of you gentlemen locked in your predictions at the beginning of the day. It was 3-1 for Saint and 3-2 for Kobe.
TSM. They're going to win 2 games now.
Okay, so you're going for 2 games. Saint, are you sticking to your original prediction?
I think it might be a 3-0.
I think we can leave it at that. Guys, we do have to recall to base. But when we come back, we'll jump into Game 3 between Cloud9 and Team SoloMid. The championship series continues in 3.5 minutes.
We gotta see how low it is. Someone ward.
It's
Corki.
They're going.
Yeah. Xpecial.
I'm coming over.
Hit him.
They're finishing. They're finishing.
Go turtle. Kill turtle. Kill him.
Yo, try to kill TheOddOne.
I got you, Lam Mid.
No one hit Baron.
TheOddOne. Finish him.
You
zone him out. Finish Baron. I'll zone him.
Good shit, guys. Good shit.
Yes. Good job.
Let's go.